insightful podcast on SELINTalks, initiative by Selin Club. We connect, engage, and acknowledge the torchbearers of the education sector globally. Today, we welcome Swarleen Kaur, who is a dedicated and passionate youth personality development coach and trainer with 18 years of expertise. This organization helps children and young adults develop their personalities, interview and etiquette skills, time and stress management, mental modeling, self confidence, and leadership skills by teaching them communication and soft skills. She's TEDx speaker, Josh Talk speaker, image architect, public speaking coach, educator, author, advisory board member at Indo Canadian Education Council, founder and director of The Talk Room, and whatnot. None other than Ms. Swarleen Kaur. Thank you so much for giving us time to be here in the podcast today. So the first question is, you are the national influencer of Selin Club. How does it feel? How has it been?
It was again one of the most exciting moments, I must say, getting into invited as a national influencer actually means something. I think that gives more of credibility to the work you are doing. And it's all,
Right.
I strongly believe that it's because of your work that you get that kind of recognition. So it clearly gave me that indication that people are loving my work, and that's what put me through this. Again, one of beautiful feather in my cap, and I think it was one of the most exciting moments again for me.
Thank you so much. It is motivating for us also. You also go about believing on a notion, create change within. How do you? I mean, what could you please elaborate on this?
Yeah, sure. I think this is one of the most important and one of my favorite topics when I talk about personality. See, what we do is we generally tend to communicate with everybody. How strongly we communicate within our own selves is the question. And that's where we lack. We
Yeah,
want to know others, we want others to know us. The question is, do we know ourselves? So, how much time do we devote to our own inner self? How much intrapersonal talks do we do? What is the intrapersonal relationship that we have formed within our own selves? That's, I think, a big question. It's like
right.
people are not even aware of like why do we need me time, and it's so important. It's like, when I strongly believe you can bring out any change, and the change begins from within. The only thing that's constant is change, and if you've got to bring that change, let it be from negative to being positive, from being pessimistic to being optimistic, the change all
Right.
starts within. So that's where I strongly believe in this notion, and I strongly support it every moment, that start changing yourself.
Right. Do you see a lot of people when you are, because you're a personality coach and your organization also works a lot around the same area? Do you notice a lot of people who, are coming to gain this coaching? They do have some kind of a, berating notion about themselves, because I think that has been a very common notion these days with youth specifically. There's a berating of themselves rather than letting themselves know, like you said, me time. Not everybody really knows कि चाहिए क्यों.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. I think we have been talking about me time since long now, but still people do not know how to utilize this me time. Could be like, I'm listening to music. How deep is it going inside? Right. And people, and strongly today's generation, they come with these kind of inhibitions. I really don't have time. I don't know how to utilize it. I do not have my
Yeah.
goals set. So I think when I talk about personality, when I talk about these inhibitions that we come across, personality is the sum total of all the characteristics that we have. So whether it is
Yeah.
my self esteem, whether it is my behavior, whether it is my emotional intelligence, it is my self confidence, it is my leadership qualities, it is my intrapersonal relationships, be it anything. It all centers around every part of personality. Every module has its own role to play. How well is time and stress connected? People
Yeah.
are not aware of this, that how interconnected is the entire system. It's just like, the veins and the muscles that are running through the body, they're all
Yeah.
interconnected. It is the same. When you talk about your personality, when you talk about your time zone, when you talk about your own time, when you talk about your intrapersonal, people have a lot of inhibitions. How, when to start, why to do it, where do we start from? So there are a lot of questions they come with.
So again, where do we start from? Like somebody who has no ideas, and a lot of people are just, there's a rat race going on and everybody's running. If they want to, want to motivate themselves or even start a little bit of improving their self-esteem, where do they actually start from? How should one start, basically?
As I said, personality is an internal concept, very individualistic, because we've got to start it from our own self. Where
Of
is the
course.
question? And the thing is, we've got to be motivated first to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
we've heard of the tortoise and the hare race. The tortoise keeps
Yeah.
on, praising himself that, I'm such a slow runner and I win the race. And there has come another second and third part where the rabbit wins, and then two of them collaborate, and then they both win.
Yeah. I've read that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the collaboration that you do with your own inner self. You motivate your own inner self when you tell yourself enough is enough. If I've got to change myself, I've got to work on it. Because there is only one mantra to achieve the kind of persona you want to have, and that is practice on yourself, practice on yourself, and practice on yourself. I think until and unless you don't strongly believe it, you practice
Right.
it, start actually living the life that you want to live, the change that you want to bring. You've got to start assuming that the change is happening and you suddenly start working towards it. So that's again something very individualistic, and how strong is your determination to go towards it and be there. That's important.
You're right. I think the practice one is so beautifully and simply put that we don't realize that it is that's about it. That's where we need to start, and
Yeah.
we go in the nitty gritties to understand and then go about it, and then find faults in ourselves. I think nitty gritties obviously everyone has, but the practice your thing, everything, it's just so simple and nice
Yes.
that I think we should start. Like all of us should just start.
It's just, the first step is always the hardest to take. But put
Yeah,
it
for
that
sure.
if you start there, if you've taken that step, I think you start moving.
Yeah. But how did it feel to be a TEDx speaker? I have always wanted to speak to somebody who has been invited as a TEDx speaker. I've always been excited about it. How was the journey? How did you start and what was it like? Could you please tell us?
TEDx has been a dream. I mean, if we talk to a speaker, every speaker will have this dream, right?
Right.
So when a junior student, comes to my class and says, like, "Ma'am, what do you mean by TEDx? What did you do at the TEDx?" I said, one thing that I can tell you, have you heard about PhD scholars? They said, yes. I said, that's a PhD in public speaking.
How nice.
That's how simply I can put it to, people across. It's actually a dream come true. So I was doing these webinars online, and I happened to meet a professor at IIT Mumbai, and then he recommended my name for the upcoming TEDx event, and I was
Wow.
called to Mumbai. It was like, for first few days I could not believe that the mail was there in the inbox. I checked my inbox, I don't know how many times. Yeah, this is me. And that's what I always wanted to. And I think it was one of the learning experiences. I think the first thing, they say the first love is always so close to
Yeah.
you cannot forget that. After that, I've done one more and I'm doing two more in January. So
Wow.
I think that first one is always very close to your heart. And it gave me
Yeah.
that special moment. It gave me I started believing in myself all the more all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
I think I knew I belonged to this. I just wanted it to be in my feather cap, and God's been kind.
For sure. I mean, it is, I think that recognition once you start getting for your work, it more than anything, not the recognition in the subjective form, but that you're invited. There are people recognizing, and that people are giving recommendation to you. I think that puts in another perspective to it, no? I think okay, you're doing some work kind of a thing. When people start talking about your work, I think that's when it starts hitting. Oh no, okay, so it's really happening.
True, true. It's just like that feedback that comes so instantly to you when somebody recommends your name, and it's like that means you're doing work. And that's a good work, and that's what people are noticing about you. And that's where
Yeah,
I always wanted to be. You always want to be recognized because of the good work that you do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I always say it. I always believe in gratitude.
Your organization, the Talk Room. I want to know how did you come up with the name?
I think this is one question everybody asks me, and it's again a favorite. I always tell this. And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful story. I was in my teaching career that time, and I was passing through the streets of Ludhiana, and suddenly I find something like drawing room. So I said, like, what is this drawing
Oh,
room? My sister tells me it's a furniture shop, and it exclusively has furniture for your living rooms. I said,
oh,
that's particularly a niche that they carry. Like, what do you think? I said, I'm going to build the talk room because I know people have to talk. It's important to talk about yourselves. It's important to talk about different topics. It's important to
yeah.
speak. So anything be it, I'm going to open the talk room. So the first thing that when the first day when I thought that I'm going to open it, the talk room was definitely there.
And what was your motivation factor to, start this entrepreneurial journey with the Talk Room?
I was into teaching, zone for like almost 18, 19 years. And I've been a PGT English doing Shakespeare, a lot of Robert Frost with like grade
Wow.
11 and 12 because I have my master's in English and has been always my favorite subject to read and to teach. So I used to prepare my students for different debates, declamations, and I used to motivate my 12s a lot. And they used to come and say, ma'am, you could be a motivational speaker. And I was then, oh, come on, study. Don't even, fly. Then I won the International Public Speaking Championship held in India. So
Wow.
I was like, I just went as an underdog, okay, an educator. And there were a lot of boardroom people sitting there. And I was like, what do I speak today? But I think that was my day, and God writes that one golden day in your life, and that was it. And I won the championship, and I became an
Wow.
international champion for public speaking. Then I thought that enough is enough, and I've got to do something, and I've got to aware people about how public speaking, how these skills of these soft skills, your persona skills, can create and change the entire life. It's like
Yeah.
skills that you can, I think you can achieve anything in the world. So that's
Very
when
true.
I thought that I have to do something, and that's how I started.
I think we should have a different subject, or as important as maths and science
Yeah.
in school. I think when I started thinking and talking and even seeing things about public speaking happened in college. So it was like a shock. Okay, you need to stand and talk. Obviously, there are school debates that are there, obviously, but I think the stage fear and all of those things starts coming in college. Okay, we need to do public speaking. Okay, we need to participate in this and that. I think that this needs to be a subject that needs to be taught in school.
Certainly, it has to be. I mean, it's a again a beautiful story behind how I started. I've always been an outspoken child and going for my debates in schools and all. So one day, my college principal, I was in my final year doing my grads in English, and my principal calls me up and says, "Swarleen, I hope you know that today afternoon we have this impromptu competition, which is at the district."
Okay.
I said, ma'am, impromptu at the district level. And like, are you really? I knew the eyes were on me. My HOD was sitting there and our principal was sitting there. He's like, I said, do you really want me to go? He says, yeah, of course, you've got to go. And I was like, numb. I said, it is impossible. Within an hour, I have to leave. And you're telling me now that you must go. He says, come on, it's otherwise an impromptu and I want to go. And that's where I went there. There were people from postgrads, there were people who were doing their PhDs in English. And I was like, who do I speak to now in front of these people? But I think that was again, that was the start, and I won the first district
Wow.
level. And then they tell me 15 days later, you have a state level.
Very impromptu.
It was actually impromptu. And then I went for my state level. The next day, when they had to give the awards, I wouldn't go. And I said, Mom, it was like 21 people from different districts. I think I'm not going. So my mom was like, get up. And she got hold of me. And we got there and sit there listening, like, the award is going to be announced. And I was like, oh God, I don't even hear the name. My mom's going to be embarrassed. She got me with so much confidence. I think that was my first state level win as an impromptu
Wow.
champion. And then
Wow.
like I went to the nationals, got the third, the second runner up. And that's where the journey started, actually.
Very, very impromptu. Everything
Yeah.
quite fitting to the theme of it.
Yes, it was. But it
Yeah.
changed my entire life, I must say.
How does your organization, like you, I think mostly around the youth development and training that is there. So these students are from school, colleges, or are they mixture of all? How do you go about it?
So we have students from schools, we have students from colleges. We've collaborated with certain colleges where we are giving trainings for interview etiquettes and for soft skills, and we've developed some placement and training teams with the
Oh,
colleges.
wow.
We've collaborated with a few colleges here in Dehradun. So we're working with GRD College, we're working with Shivalik International College, and a few more colleges where I go and deliver my lectures to these students. And we're also working with to be corporates working, and they just lose that confidence on speaking and presentation
Yeah,
skills when it comes. We do corporate trainings. So I think age is just a number.
not the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So age is just a number because there are a few of my students who've prepared an anthology. So we make them, it's like the entire communication. It's not only speaking, we do listening classes, we do speaking classes, we do reading and writing classes. So a few of my students have prepared an anthology. A book is coming up very soon. Uh,
Wow.
15 of my students have prepared this with me. So it is like encouraging them to come up with the skills, how important it is. I think when everybody was trying to survive hard in the lockdown period,
Yeah.
people who had skills in hand, they were thriving. There was a blessing in
Yeah.
disguise for them. So how
Of course.
important your skills are even in the times of adversity is one must be aware of what skill I'm good at. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
if it could be just a music instrument. Like I have been trained for sitar, like 5 7 years. I have been trained for classical. I do play sitar, and I think that's the best meditation I can do anytime.
Wow.
I can go on and on for. I mean, my Guruji, she used to make me like play for the entire night at her house. We used to play sitar. So I think that kind of meditation and learning any skill, acquiring any skill, again needs your determination, your dedication. It's your hard work, it's your grit determination, and again a practice mantra which goes on forever. One
Yeah.
must be acquired with all these skills, must work hard towards them.
You are packed with the talent and all of these things in one human body. I mean, Sita, you're such a good speaker. You have your own uh, firm. You have been associated with lot of education, this thing, Indo Canadian, what is there that you don't do?
I think the bucket list still pending, still on my cards, and I think God is being kind, and I cannot be even a single moment not thanking God for giving me like He's given me what more than what I deserved. I truly believe in this, and I think one thing which I have learned from my coaches, from my guruji, when I was doing music, it's been like be humble, be kind, and that again starts within yourself. When you're
Yeah.
humble, when you're kind to your own self, then only you can spread that kindness. You can spread that humility. And I think today the world needs it the most.
Very, yeah, we do. All
Yeah.
of us, I think.
Yes. So if you, I think, there are two C's which, people often mix and confuse with. One is competition and the other is collaboration. Competition will always give you that feeling of me first. But when
Yeah,
you collaborate, it always gives you that feeling of, going together. And that
yeah,
feeling is, I think, that's going to be the next gen thing. When you collaborate, work together for development of not only one aspect of yours, but towards humanity. I think it changes the entire perspective. The kind of, NGOs I'm working with, I cannot
wow.
think of getting any more relaxation when I work with them, when I talk with them, when I sit with them. I think it's one of the most amazing thing to do because you're not only enriching them, the way you get enriched by their presence is remarkable.
Wow. That's I am speechless. I really there were so many like when you meet a person and everything, you'd want to ask about everything. But there is this the thing that you said that we have to be kind and humble and collaborative. I remember we had a weekly classes of emotional intelligence in my college where we were talking about empathy as a textbook thing. I could never understand that EQ क्यों समझाया जा रहा है? It's always, IQ thing that people focus. What is this EQ thing, and why are being taught? Why can't we just, interact and everything? And then one of my professors, I am always a person who was like, मैं मेरा पहला question है, पहले मेरा answer करो type. So I went to him and I asked him that, why is this being taught? He gave me a very simple answer that right now you're in you're studying for your masters, you're doing MBA, and there will be competitions, there will be interview ke liye ladai, there will be so many people sitting for the same interview and everything. You might get that thing ki maybe that person is better than me, or usko kaise mila and all this, but you need to understand that at some point in time there everybody has their own journey, and if you can help somebody with their own like their journey, and somebody can help you with your journey, it's going to be a collaborative thing. Then
Sure.
in my head, I was like, this looks like and sound very nice as a concept. And I was the youngest in my batch. So
Okay.
I was always like, listen, y'all are going to treat me like kid. But yeah, it went a long way when we started actually. This was the first semester, like the first week of our college. And then by the time we were done, we would talk to each other, literally putting ourselves into their shoes to understand, okay, there's a boundary, of course, there's a boundary of not crossing personal this thing, but you need to understand that there is empathy that plays the role. I think it took that much time because we're so engraved with competing all the time. Marks ho gaya, ye ho gaya. Everything was a competition. So be kind and humble is a very nice and very simple and very hard to practice mantra, don't you think?
Yes, it is. It is. Because, first you've got to practice it on your own self. And I still remember,
Yeah.
like, my daughter, when she entered her 10th grade, so said, like, Mom, what marks do you expect out of me? So I said, depends on how hard you work. She said, no, like, every mom is telling her, and my friend comes and tells me, like, my mom expects this, my mom expects. I said, what do you expect out of yourself? You've got to tell me that first. She's like, I want to be a good scholar. So I said, all right, it's okay with me. She's like, I don't know. I think something's reverse in our home where parents are not forcing me enough to this much marks. It's okay to teach your child. It's fine, whatever you want to score, but don't forget that it's basically about humanity. It's basically about how you grow. It's basically, I'm sure, the academic results definitely do matter, but it's also about the character that is
Right.
created matters a lot. The role of being helpful, the role of being empathetic towards each other, the role of being collaboratively studying. So she's like, this really sounds absurd. Nobody's going to do this in the school. So I said, it's all right. Even you could try. It's how you teach the next gen, the students, that it is important to be competitive at a certain stage, but do not let it command your head. And
Yeah.
most of the times we see it's commanding over the heads of the student that I want to be the winner. You
Mm-hmm.
can succeed even if you carry, if you catch hold of two people together with you. It's always a win-win example. So I
Yeah.
think that's more of like a brotherhood. That's more of like a, though it sounds, I'm sure that though it sounds like, oh no, that's an old thing and doesn't happen in the today's world. But I think it is
Yeah.
all possible. It's all possible when you start working, when I collaborated with different universities and colleges, the IITs where I've given sessions, I was sure enough to see children having that competitiveness, but when it comes to skills, they themselves come ahead and ask for help these.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the awareness is being created, and that's
Right.
important as well.
Mm-hmm. And in corporate trainings that your organization and you also deliver, do you see the same behavioral pattern that has been going on, that being competitive has been going on around a lot rather than being empathetic towards, your coworkers or something?
See, corporate trainings, I think कहते हैं ना बदनाम बहुत हो चुकी हैं कि it's very difficult. A boss depends if you become a boss or you become a leader, because a leader will always try to take you together. It's like a team.
Yeah.
And what I see here is there is a little paradigm shift happening. People,
Mm-hmm.
huge corporate houses are asking for these skill trainings where we talk about team building, where we talk about emotional intelligence, where we talk about being one, working together.
Mm-hmm.
So that working together, certainly there is a neck to neck competition. There is like a race, mad rat race for getting into those promotions, getting to the board.
Yeah.
But I think there's also that awareness happening. And that's why a lot of trainings are happening. So that to make
Okay.
people aware of how it's not like a one man show, it's a teamwork.
Right.
Talk about, the interpersonal relationships, the communication gaps that we have. And I think somewhere that started to bridge the gap as well.
Mm-hmm. And what would be, so for corporates, what would be your, like, number one advice for them to just begin with the communication, wherein, the corporate culture, as you said, has been very badnaam these days, tries to, overcome that. Every role has become very, what to say, very social media. There's just so many memes that are going around. HR does this, sales people do this, all of that. So to, break that barrier of judgment, what would be your first advice to all of us, anybody who's just starting up, or our viewers who are about to begin a startup or are already in corporate as some holding some position? So what would be that one advice from you to us?
So I think I have strongly believed in myself. And I would suggest everybody to believe in your own self, believe in your own skills. You guys have come a long way after such hard and strenuous works that you've done. We reach here, right? It's important to stay these days. You reach there, but staying becomes all the more complex and complicated. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just give up. Sometimes you're just so demotivated. Sometimes it's the pressure that we can't take. Sometimes you feel so burnt out. It's when you believe in yourself and give yourself some time.
Right.
It's not only about believing in yourself, but you have to keep up to that pace of this is it. I know when
Mm-hmm.
to say a no. I know when to say to go ahead. I know when to make a move, and working again collaboratively, because it can never be a one man show. I could have never
Right.
been running a corporate if I was all alone. It's a trade. I started as a one man show, but I was building on my team. Today I have 15 trainers with me,
Wow.
social media people with me. It's a huge team now. And I think when you start once, never look back. You will fall, you will fail, you will falter, but just take it as a one huge jump where you fell from. But you've got to come back and reach your destination. These failures are learnings. They are our life lessons. It's a beautiful quote I read somewhere. Life is the only thing which will first teach you a lesson and then make you stay
Then,
out it.
yeah,
Right. So you
right.
learn through these lessons. And it's important that you keep yourself motivated. As they always say, never be dehydrated. So, yeah, here
Hmm.
your hydration is your motivation, believing in yourself,
Right.
keeping yourself motivated, being optimistic about life. And that's where, it gives you good results. And that's what success is.
Right. On a lighter note, what keeps you like, going, and what is this push factor in your life, personally or professionally, either way, that that gets you up in the morning and keeps you going about it? Because I think you have never stopped hustling ever. You've been hustling all around and in every field there is, I think. So what is that keeps you going?
You'll be surprised. My family calls me a Shatabdi Express because
I'm not surprised.
I really do not like to sit for a while. It's not that, even if it's not only professionally, I mean, even if I'm on a vacation, I would just like to explore. Even if I'm on explanation, vacation, I would like to explore some food. I would just get into some person, just talking about him. I'm always on a thing to, just it's just like a passion that comes to me. I want to
Right.
know more. I want to know more. I want to know more. That's, I think, somewhere it's the yearning to learn more every day. I want to learn from every person, be it my children. So sometimes it's like, I'll ask them some because they are tech savvy and I'm not, I'll be honest. And, they're like, Mom, this is it. I said, like, how do you do it even? Please take me. "Uh, आपको सिखाएंगे बहुत टाइम लग जाएगा." I said, no, 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 I want to do it. And how impatient today's generation is, to say, we'll do it for you. But then there's a craving, and then I'll go to my social media person and like, how did we do this? So I think it's yearning that keeps me moving to learn more. I don't want to miss any moment of my life, whether when I'm enjoying even. So I want to enjoy to the most. And if I'm working, I want to work to the most.
I think you're living your life with the motto of carpe diem. Seize the moment.
Yes.
I think yeah, I think that's why the burnout factor is not portraying so much. I think with us, as in people who are not I don't want to say anything like that, but we are always burned out. We are always in this because we are rushing. We are not just sitting and enjoy, like you said. Like once you've reached there, just sit and just realize where you have reached, and cherish that. I think we don't cherish. So I think there's a lot of burnout that is happening,
It
and
also
that
happens,
yeah,
Shruti. Sorry, I'm cutting you. It also happens, because we do not look back in our past. If you look back from what you were yesterday and what you are today, I think that's going to give you so much motivation. And especially, I believe that, when your passion becomes your profession, there's no stopping.
nothing,
And I
nothing
think
like
that's
that.
my
Yeah.
case that, my passion is my profession. So it just goes on and on.
It's been therapeutic, talking to you. I'm very, very happy. Trust me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And one more thing, just for our viewers to know, what would be your favorite top three movies or top three books that you'd like to recommend also, and why?
Okay, so the power of subconscious mind is one of the, I mean, I can read it ever and ever again.
I'm gonna note it down.
Sure. So it's The Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And I
Okay.
love to read Ikigai because I strongly believe
Yeah.
in it. And
Yeah.
Seven Habits of Effective People. So that's like, I'm obsessed by reading. And I think reading makes me go. It's like a passion again.
I've read it somewhere that apart from being a public speaker and keen at reading, you're also very keen in writing. That's
Yeah.
also one of the talents that you have. Please tell us what one of your favorite pieces or something that you really wholeheartedly, wrote about, or anything that comes under that domain.
Okay, so I do write a lot of poetry, And
Wow.
I always wanted to write a book of my own. So I authored a book in 2020 during the lockdown. So it says Good Vibes Make Good Lives. It's about
Hmm?
different shades of personality, but in a fiction mode, in a very simple language where everybody can read this. All throughout my childhood, I had been writing a lot of stories, narrating stories. My articles were published in magazines or newspapers like the Tribune and the Hindustan Times. So writing was always a passion. Poetry is always a passion. I can go and on listening Urdu shairis and Sufi.
Wow.
So I'm quite a Sufi like person who wants to
But
listen
okay,
to.
we have that in common.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's where, that flair of writing was always there. And when I authored my first book, and then I co authored another 7 to 8 books till date with other authors and educators, I think it just comes with, again, it's like a passion to me. It's just like I do write something or the other. There are only two ways of my escapism. One is music, and the other is writing. I think that these are the two best modes wherein I feel so much relief, if even if I'm like, a little upset or something happens. It's that, if I play some music, do something on my sitar, or write something, then I come back to my own zone very quickly.
How sweet. Do you also suggest this for people, like to, calm themselves down or take a break? Do you suggest writing and singing and music per se?
Anything. I mean, you could just even go for a walk, a stroll. You could just talk to your friends. You could I think the problem with this generation also is like they do not express. The students also who come to me is like, when I teach them, or I should not use the word in fact teach, when I talk about stress management to them, or when we talk about, the burnouts, so they are like, yeah, ma'am, we cannot express it to anybody. Nobody will understand us. Presumably they start thinking like, nobody's gonna understand me. There's nobody for me.
Mm.
It's not
Yeah.
that. It's, I mean, if even nobody is for you, there are a lot of things that you can do. You could just go out for a walk. You could just write something.
You're right.
Scribbling your feelings also gives you such a vent out. It's
You're
like
right.
your emotions, talking to a good friend, talking to even a family member, playing some music, just going out and playing a sport. There could be like, this is again something very personalized. You, whatever gives you happiness for some time, when you feel you are at the heights of like, I cannot take it anymore, go to the zone where you enjoy the most. It's very
You're
important.
right.
Yeah.
I think that would journaling does help
Yes,
because I have and I've seen a lot of people who do kind of it's like kind of refining your thoughts, not just like professional, but personally. I myself believe once you journal your thoughts, once you're doing that, you whenever you have a conversation about it, it's more refined rather than impulsive.
exactly. And I think world has, the universe has given us so much. It's about like doing that gratitude. I strongly believe in the law of attraction. So this universe
Mhm.
is like, it's like an Amazon house. It's the Amazon house, the Amazon store where you go and you find like everything is lined up. Keep on picking up your stuff. Whatever you ask from universe, it'll give you. The only thing is you do not have to question how, why, when, where. Just keep on believing it. And it'll happen.
Yeah.
Just follow it. And I think those dreams will definitely materialize. Keep on manifesting, keep on doing techniques. Like even I learned it from a very good friend who put me into this law of attraction. So like
Right?
doing a 5 into 55 mantra, doing a meditation every day, this really helps. This really helps
Mm.
you to be, powerful in your own self.
Lot of people I don't think, and especially the generation that is coming up now, passing 12th and all of that, they don't believe only कि, okay, mil jayega. Like, they're so disheartened in life that they don't believe कि हो सकता है. Like, this can be done. It's the house and the wives start coming, lekin for what maybe if. I think it's very natural also, but the generation that is coming, it's just so much. I don't know where is it coming from. Do you have any idea where is it coming from?
You know what? I think impatience is one big thing. Now,
Hmm.
now, even if you ask any teenager, like my son used to do this, abhi chahiye. अभी दिलवा दो,
Hmm.
अभी हो, this so like अभी चाहिए. But strongly I believe this generation is so much aware, and if put into the right
True.
bracket, put into the right hands, they can do wonders. They really can.
Yeah. I think the Abhi Chahiye came with the lot of tech, lot of Amazon and lot of other brands giving us same day delivery. I think
Yes,
that is the
yes. So they become more,
expectation in life also.
they become more conscious. There's a lot of, even I don't blame them. There's a lot of peer pressure on them. When you put, I
Yeah,
mean, it's like when you put your feet in their shoe, you realize
yeah,
you are also going. So
that's what.
definitely, they've got to be a little balanced. And I think with right training, they do wonders.
Yeah, and there's a lot of in especially education sector in India. There's a lot of things that are coming up when we talk about materializing skills for all of those things that have been. It's been good. I think we have at least started there.
We've
That
started.
that says
New
yeah,
education policy is definitely, whenever it starts, is going to give you that results. Because, see,
yeah,
again, I think it's all in the state of mind. Today, if I go to a place like Europe and I say, like what is your son doing? It's like, oh, he's doing a course in carpentry. So I was like, wow.
yeah,
Here in here when a child will say, like, I want to be a carpenter, the father is going to give a slap to him. Like, is that why that I've taught you in an A school? It's like the
yeah.
change that we've got to bring, that it is not about actually working, is treated as something not so suitable job for a child.
Hmm. Right.
Skill that your child has is going to take him anywhere. So
True.
let him explore the skill at least. Give him that chance. And I think I'm very hopeful about the new education system that's going to come. We're talking about skills. We're talking about a lot of languages they're going to learn. I think it becomes a little international also. And I think it gives them that value of having their own set of skills. That's very important.
Right. You're also a part of Indo-Canadian Education Council. Is there a shift of thought process as to how India operates? Obviously, there is, but do they consider life skills as more important? Have they like what was your role into it, and how did you see the difference here and there?
Okay, so see, when I joined Indo Canadian Education Council, I was invited as to be a mentor and the advisory
Okay,
board. We see children migrating, right?
right, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this meeting once where we also had an MP from Canada, the parliamentary, right? And he asked me, like, Swarleen, you know what? Children that come from students that come from your country, they are brilliantly intelligent. They are exceptional. I was so happy to know this, right? And I don't doubt you. The kind
What a
of,
proud moment.
yeah, it was. But then he says, like, why don't you teach them some life skills as well? Do you know how difficult it becomes for them when they come here? The adaptability, the acceptability, you must teach them all this, which
Mm,
gave me that like a push. And then I started talking to, the officials that, we must do something. We take their life skill classes now, we're working on that. And that has shown a great improvement. So I think
mm,
students now go, when they go well prepared, they are better off. They know what
right.
to do. So there's a homesickness, but they know how to deal with it. They know it's not about the rosy dreams, it's about the work hours that they have to put in.
Yeah.
But they go well prepared. So I think in that case, there's a lot of changes that are happening.
Right, because here we are never taught कि pipe leak हो रहा है तो कैसे ठीक करना है, something is happening, and there you have to do it all by yourself because plumbing is actually engineering there. It's as like that. So
True.
yeah, I think we did this, and it's good that people have started talking. Leaders have started talking about it. It's kind of the need of the hour now.
Yeah.
You also talk about mental modeling. What is that?
It's about the belief system, how you shape your mind and your thoughts to be, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you model your mind? Anything like, if I talk about the fashion world, you need your model to be fit in size, wearing your clothes are the best, carrying them well. It's the same with the human body. If you
Okay.
modeled your mind towards positivity, towards going ahead, towards what you are here for, your interpersonal skills, all your skills, in fact, for that matter, are based on the matter, or are based on the fact that how do you model your mind? Because
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time, your mind drives you, right? And
Right.
I've always heard that there is always a conflict between head and heart. Right, so one says intellect, the other says emotions. How do you model it? How do you make it fit for running throughout, so that you don't have those burnouts, you don't feel left out, you are fit enough? So it's like a gymming exercise, I call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a gym for our mind, which we
Amazing.
prepare our where we prepare our mind to work in accordance with the thoughts and the emotions, and understand where we are leading to. It helps
Mm-hmm.
you reach your goals. It helps you making good decisions. It helps you in problem solving, your creativity, innovation. I think how you model your mind, how you structure it.
Hmm. So around the same notion, how you spoke about international students, you have to like there must be some kind of a training that needs to be given. Okay, this is your expectation. This is how it is going to be, and
Yeah.
these are the skills that are required. I think
Yes.
those three things that we need to determine. Even now, people have like a very rosy dream about abroad studying and all of those things.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, I think the reality hits once you're there and the whole thing comes crashing down. But there are so many students who actually thrive through that. When I see my, peers and like, the juniors or even the seniors that I've moved, they have been through a lot.
I'm
Like
sure.
as an international student or even a person who's moving, I think the mental modeling that was required here is any which way taught there by life.
By life. Yes. Yes, that's right.
So I think that has been. If you could give one advice of a lifetime to our viewers, what would it be?
Um, I think I'm no one to advise anybody. I think students, people, they are smart today to understand what they require from their life. But I'll definitely say one thing again, which I strongly believe in, which is the mantra for my life too. Please believe in yourself. There will be times when you will be at your lowest. There will be times when you will be harshly hit, and these times will come. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's happened in my with me in my life too. We've come a long way because we've believed in that. Do not ever give up, because the moment you say I give up, you're dead. But the moment when you say, it's like, I'll come back, I'll make a comeback, you come back with a spirit. It's just like that phoenix rising from its own ashes.
How
Yeah.
beautiful.
Be the phoenix of your own lives, because life will throw harsh stones at you. Take them as lessons. Do not be disheartened. Because when I see students doing, committing suicides, or like, they give up on their lives, that's no, I mean, that's no solution. You blessed with
Hmm.
this life, make the most of it, because that's where you are required, and that's why you've been sent by God Almighty.
Yeah.
Love your life, love yourself.
Thank you so much. Very beautifully put. And I am sure of one thing that I think every viewer of our channel and the podcast will be able to relate to all of this. Like there was nothing, that okay, we don't relate to. It's very, professionally this thing, and I think everybody could relate to this. Specifically, life has been kicking you down, then you have to get back up. I am feeling very motivated, honestly.
Thank you so much.
It has been a pleasure, and it feels like consider me as your fan, and I'm gonna have a fangirl moment every time I speak to you.
Thank you so much.
And
It was indeed a pleasure talking to you, and you are a
same.
brilliant host, I must say.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure.